I think we should do is we need to educate people, anyone who, well, people in general, but anyone who has access to a site, in my opinion, should have to pass a test that they understand the geometry of the site and where it's harmful and where it isn't harmful, so that they can make intelligent steps about while they're being there. So if a painter has to go out and paint, he's going to know, if he's taken a course and passed the test, that he knows he's supposed to be at least 30 feet away from that radiating tower over there. And therefore, if he needs to do work within that 30 feet, he needs to get them to
And
shut
they're
the
not
tower
doing
down.
that now.
And they don't do it now.
Right now, there are people going in, working in these
right.
radioactive facilities, in a sense, and they're maybe painting, and they're unaware.
Now, to be on the carrier side for just a moment, because I think it's an important point I want to make. They're in somewhat of a conflicted situation. Okay, they want to. They don't want to hurt people. These are good people. They're just like you and me. They don't want.
You worked with the CEO of AT&T for years.
They're great. They're great. They don't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
On the other hand, and they try to comply with FCC regulations about how much exposures are there, and it's all written out there. So what has to happen is that the FCC regulations have a rule that says you have to have a dial tone within 2 seconds, and the main reason for that is for E911. If someone's in danger and they need to dial 911, they want to be able to connect. So if the phone companies turn off too many of these stations because of repair being done, then they may not meet that compliant requirement. You may not be able to connect.
So they're in an impossible situation.
So they're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And what I would encourage, we find a way out of this, and the way out of it is as follows: education and making sure they pass the test. And I think it should be required that anyone who ever goes out to a site has to have the course, have an online course. You don't have to go anywhere, just do it online. And then take your cell phone with you with an app on it that will help protect you further by giving you a three-dimensional image of what that site looks like, so you can see where the plumes are. The plumes are where the danger area is. Mm-hmm. And they're usually depicted in red, which is very dangerous, green, yellow, which is less dangerous, and green, which is completely safe. And the general rule of thumb is if you're 30 feet or more away, you're in the green zone.
That's a no-brainer, I think, for employees. Right. But my question would be, what about the daycare center? What about the church? What about the school that's put these towers in? Yeah, you're going to require that of employees that are going to go and repaint or restart or fix or whatever. But what about when I put my kids in a public library and they're studying in the public library and there might be a tower there? How would we be able to protect against that sort of risk?
Well, every kid I know has their own cell phone these days. So
yeah, that's true.
Every one of my grandkids has their own cell phone.
But my cell phone doesn't tell me where there's risk.
But it's not that hard to do an app that will, and that's what we're working on. So
tell me about that. What do you mean we're working on?
Well, I've started in the last few years a few companies that are dealing with this whole range of topics that we're talking about, having to do with communications. And my code name is when people say, "What are you doing?" I tell them I'm trying to make the world a safer place.
Okay, so tell me how you're doing that.
So that's what we're doing. So we're doing everything we just talked about over here.
Where you're helping the worker.
We're data mining these base stations and storing that data in a computer, and then by taking pictures in the right way. There's software that will allow you to create a 3D image of the site, and we're going to make that available for free online, so anyone can see it. And moreover, we'd like to make an app that everyone can have on their cell phone that says if they're within 30 feet of an operating base station,
I want that.
They will get an alert.
My wife wants it. I want it. My kids want it. I want that app right now. How do I do it?